Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Today's learning is sponsored by the Garland children, Zecha Nishmas, their uncle, Gabriel ben Moshe Nachum, Neshama Shab and Aliyah.
Amen.
Okay, so Mishnah Gimel. Man says to his wife, Ze gitech im meisi. This is your get. Now again, translated is this is your get if I die. Or he says, Ze gitech im meisi mechayli zeh. Or this is your get if I die from this sickness. Or he says, Ze gitech la'achamisa. This is your get for this is your get after death. Loy amar klum. He has said nothing. Meaning what he just did right now is basically make his get invalid, inoperable. Why? So let's take the last case first, the third case. He says, this is your get after death. That means, when does the get take effect? After I die. After you die, can't work anymore. Because after he dies, it's too late. The marriage is over. Now again, the reason why a person is giving this get, or thinking maybe that this get can work, is because he's trying to, again, he has no children. If he dies without children, his wife is going to be bound to her brother-in-law for Yibam, unless he gives her chalitza. In order for her to have to avoid that, he's giving her a get. But if he says his get is only going to work after his death, then he didn't do anything. Now, then let's look now at the first cases. He said, this is your get if I die. So what does that mean, if I die? If I die, it's a condition, right? It's a get if I die. That's when it's a get. But when is it a get? When is the get going to take effect? If he just says, this is your get if I die. If he just says, this is your get if I die, or he says, this is your get if I die from this sickness, it means once it happens, then you have a get. But it's too late. Because those words mean that once he dies, it's a get. He didn't say specifically, like in the case where he says, this is your get after death. But when you say, this is your get if I die, it's really the same thing as saying, it's as if you're saying, this is your get when I die. And when you die, when he's dead, there's no more get. And therefore, in all these cases, we say, doesn't work. However, let's say he says, Me hayoim imesi. This is your get from today if I die. Or he says, Me achshav imesi. Or he says, from now if I die. Hare ze get. That is a get. That's a kosher get. Why? Because if he says, from today if I die, so the if I die is the condition for the get to take effect. And if he does die and it takes effect, when does it take effect? Retroactively. It takes effect from today, or it takes effect from now. So that's the difference between the first case and the second case. Both of them are conditional about his dying, but the question is, when should the get take effect? In these cases, because he said from today, from now, that means that when the condition of his death or dying from this disease is met, it will be considered a get already took effect from before, when he was still alive. So therefore it works. Now, what if the wording that he uses is Me hayoim ula achar misa, from today and after death? Those are his words. From today and after death. So what does he mean then? So says the Mishnah, get vena get. It's a doubt whether the get is good. Now, in this case, he didn't say he didn't say if, but he didn't say if, and even though he said me hayom from today, he didn't say if. His wording is from today and after. So what does that mean? So the Mishnah says we have a doubt what he means. We don't know what he means. Does he mean to say the same thing as from today if I die? And therefore, when he dies, it already is a get from before, while he was still alive? Or actually, because of the wording that he uses, he didn't say if, he says from today and after? Maybe he actually means to change his mind about something. When he says, Me hayom from today, that means from today. But then when he says, and after death, he means to change his mind. Not from today, after death. And if that's what he meant, it's not a good get. So since we don't know what he means, the Mishnah says, get vena get. Could be it's a get, could be it's not a get. And therefore, the result of that is, in mace, if he does die, so now we're not sure. Did the get take effect while he was still alive? Or did it mean take effect after he dies? If he meant from when he was alive, then it's a good get. If he meant after he dies, not a good get. And now he died without children. So what's the Yibum story now? Can Yibum be done to her? Well, if let's say she was already divorced, let's say when he meant for her to be divorced while he was still alive, then there is no Yibum because she was divorced. But she was divorced. And when she's divorced, there's no Yibum. But if let's say she wasn't divorced because he meant to change his mind and say that he wants to get to work after he dies, then there was no good get. And if there was no get, there should be Yibum. So what do you do in a question? What do you do in a case where you don't know if there should be Yibum or not? The answer is you get Chalitza, to make sure that in case there is Yibum, she now is not going to be stuck. But there can't be any Yibum because perhaps she was divorced and therefore she cannot marry her brother-in-law. Brother-in-law is only a woman can only marry her brother-in-law where there's a mitzvah of Yibum. But if there is no mitzvah of Yibum, she can't. So therefore, the halacha is she can't have Yibum done, but she will have Chalitza done in case he meant the get to work to take effect after death, which means the get wasn't a get. That means that she's a widow from her husband and therefore would need Yibum or at least Chalitza to be free to marry someone else. Okay, next case. The guy says to his wife, "This is your get from today if I die from this disease." Okay, so if he dies from this disease, when is she divorced? Mehayom, from today. That's what he says. He's saying all the wording that he needs for it to work while he's still alive. He said from today, if I die from this disease, so if he dies from that disease, she'll be divorced already from before. It'll be a good get. But what happened is like this. He got better. He was sick. He gave her the get, if I die from this disease. And again, his condition was if I die from this disease. He didn't just say if I die from this disease. Mm-hmm. Then he got better and he walked in the street. That means he recovered. Then he got sick again, and he died. Mm-hmm. So we have to assess him. If this recurrence of sickness really meant that the first disease came back, he died because of the first disease, then it's a good get. Because the condition was if I die from this disease. So even though he got better in between, but the disease, but at the end of the day, when he got sick again from the original disease. The original disease was the condition. The condition was met. Then it's a good get. The imlav, but if not, meaning his death now had no connection to is not because of the original disease. Ain't no get. Then it's not going to be a good get because the condition wasn't met. The condition was. So let me just read it here. That is, if the original sickness is not what caused him to get sick again, rather, after recovering from his first illness, he became sick with a new illness and died from it, the get is not valid. So again, this is something that they have to assess, I guess, through doctors, that when he dies now, is this sick, or maybe it can even be obvious, is he dying because of the original disease, meaning it came back, or did he die from a new disease? So it's from the original disease, that was the condition. His condition was when he had the first disease, if I die from this disease, you are divorced from today. Well, if he dies at the end after he recovered and he was walking around, he died from that first disease, then that's the condition, and she would be divorced from during his lifetime, and there would be no yibum at all, no yibum or chalitza. But if not, meaning he died from a new disease, then the original get is not a get because the condition was it should be a get if he dies from the first disease. If he died from a new disease, then the original condition was never met and it never was a get. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Rabbi.